Today on 10 Minute IT Jams, we have Damon Kelly, who is the founder and CEO of Enlighten Designs. Enlighten Designs is a web design and development company based in New Zealand and specializes in website design, systems design, and software development. Welcome to the Jam, Damon.
Hey, thanks.
All right. So first question, start off. Can you tell me about your business journey and how you got Enlighten Designs to where it is today?
Wow, business journey. Yeah, sure. So Enlighten began 21 years ago in a caravan out the back of my house, my parents' house actually. And it was interesting. I was playing a game called Quake with a whole bunch of people from overseas, and we built this big community website around it. And I kind of was a broke student, so I went to an ISP and said, "Your website sucks. I'll tell you what, I'll redevelop it if you give us free website hosting for this community site." And they said yes. And then from there, they started sending us more and more websites, which was really good. So I decided I was going to go back and actually do clinical psychology. And I decided to give this a go, and that's it's been a bit of a long run since then, actually. And then yeah, we just got really lucky early on, which was kind of pretty good, and got aligned with Microsoft and realized that we were pretty good at the software development side of things. And I think because we began from that web background, we ended up bringing this really nice kind of blend, I guess, of software development and creativity with like design and interaction. And then that's moved into some of the practices that we've got today, like our data visualization team and a lot of the web development that we do, or artificial intelligence, which has been really cool.
Cool. So you kind of mentioned it just then, but could you go into a bit more detail on what your key products and services are?
Yeah, so what we aim to do is create like beautiful digital experiences for our clients, customers, and employees. And we do this across web. So we'll do like Umbraco, Sitefinity, Sitecore. So kind of more than, I guess, like brochure websites, more full-fledged kind of marketing automation platforms where you're doing like CRM integration and all the rest. A huge amount of custom development. So we work with a lot of ISVs. We do a lot of kind of app mod and cloud modernization, data and artificial intelligence, which is cool. We've got things like the most viewed Power BI report in the world, which is pretty cool. And modern work. So think Teams, SharePoint, Office 365. And then across all of those practices, we've got these other teams that run across them. So one is a team called Digital Response. And what they do is kind of like a managed services, but really at the application level. So they're a collection of like developers and designers, and they'll make sure that, you know, bug fixes are done and applications are staying current, which is quite good. And then kind of a user experience and design team that runs across everything. And they'll do everything from service design to design thinking.
Cool. And I've seen that you've recently signed a partnership with ARQ Group, which is one of Australia's leading digital services providers. Could you tell me a little bit about that partnership?
Yeah, the ARQ Group partnership's been really, really good actually. So they're really like they've got a huge amount of breadth and capability and like cloud transformation, cloud migrations. They've got really, really good data engineering and data science. And when you couple that, and we've actually both got pretty good mobile practices, and then when you couple that with what we do with web and what we do with kind of integration and data visualization and artificial intelligence, it's just worked out at being like a really, really good fit. And then the other thing, and actually I just heard it on the meeting which I had prior to this one, is that, you know, in this new world since COVID's hit, people just don't really care where providers are from anymore. So I think it's like so much easier to go internationally than it ever has been, because people just want like the best talent and someone that's like really good at what they do. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. You've mentioned AI a couple of times. Is there, have you been finding you've been using AI more in your business, like recently because of the pandemic, or just because it's becoming more of a trend now?
Yeah, I think AI has gone through these interesting situations, right? So I think you had this first phase where it was trendy, right? Everyone was kind of like, I want to come buy me some AI. And we got a lot of clients come to us for that. And to a certain degree, we sent them away in those early days because they were asking for a technology that actually wasn't the right fit for the outcomes that they wanted to create. And we always want to make sure that if we're doing something, that we're doing it for good outcomes for clients. So sometimes they'd be like, hey, I want artificial intelligence, but they really just wanted automation. But now I think what we're seeing is that everything's changing, right? Like AI's kind of hit that maturity point where the use cases that we've got for it are just becoming better and better all of the time. So it could be things like, a scenario that we've gone through is a customer that had a member of their team that was going to retire, and they had all of this knowledge around plants. So what was a plant? What was a weed? But they knew that all of that knowledge was going to go out. So they essentially used image recognition to build an app that can automatically identify plants as like weeds, or whether they're good, or this is how you deal with it in that way. And then the other thing is, I think kind of chatbots and conversational AI started off really gimmicky. But actually at the moment, it's what we're seeing with call centers and what's happening with so much digital engagement happening at the moment is really kind of now hitting its stride and starting to move into the mainstream, which has been really cool. The other bit that's been interesting is I think that AI is becoming far more almost commoditized in relation to the accessibility for people. So we do quite a lot of work with Microsoft Power Apps. And the AI builder in there can actually, enable people to build an AI-based application with config in like a few clicks, which is it's pretty good actually. So yeah.
Would you be able to also tell me a bit of some of the clients you work with, if possible? Just like
Yeah.
a couple of examples.
I mean, being around for 21 years, we've got lots and lots and lots and lots of clients. I'll talk about, we won this year Microsoft Country Partner of the Year, which was pretty cool. So I might mention a few of the clients that were part of that one. So one of them was an organization called Well Networks in New Zealand, and they created something called Our Power. And what was really cool is why they did it. So because they're essentially like a non-profit community trust, and one of the challenges that you've got is that there's these people which are classified as energy hardship customers, and anyone that's an energy hardship customer is someone that spends more than 10% of their income on power per week, right? Which is like, that's kind of pretty killer. So what they did was they came to us and they got us to build a fully automated power retailer on Azure. And what was interesting around that is this power retailer requires 3 people to run the entire company, which is obviously, if you kind of consider like the other power retailers, there's like a marked cost difference when you go to a point of having a whole business being run by 3 people. And what this meant was that the power charges and the rate that they could offer power at is like kind of dropped through the roof. So obviously they've been gaining crazy market share. They've been like supporting people with energy hardship. So I think it was like a really nice example of one of our clients on where we've been able to, I guess, use really cool technology and use the cloud and do quite cutting edge stuff, but actually do it in a way where it really helps people and it's done for good. So that was one. Another one that we've been talking about quite a bit recently is sustainable coastlines. Sustainable coastlines are a really neat organization. They in New Zealand and actually now in other countries help beach cleanups. So they'll have essentially citizen scientists will go and do a beach cleanup, but then count all the rubbish and categorize it. And then we put this all into a system called litter intelligence, which then looks and can identify what's happening on. And a lot of their work is being kind of viewed by the United Nations and looking at how we actually make a difference to the oceans and beaches. And actually, I think also now rivers around the world. So yeah, those have been really, really cool. What's another one? The other one that I think was really interesting and might be useful for the readers and watchers, I guess, in this to know about is actually what we did for Tawaka. And it was a regional support authority in New Zealand, right? And they basically need to help businesses. And when COVID hit, obviously the world was in a pretty challenging place. And what we did, which I thought was really neat with that, is that we came up with a solution for them using Microsoft Teams and Power Apps to set up a crisis communication site so that they could help get information out and spread it out to everyone. And it was that ability to kind of go, our clients are in trouble. Let's really look at what's going on, kind of understand what we've got that could help them, and then get some communication and correspondence out to them that would help, right? And then also allowing our clients, which are also doing that themselves, to then kind of rebroadcast and just, I guess, help the community, because it's been a really challenging time, especially for certain clients in certain sectors.
Right. And finally, if an enterprise end user or a partner wanted to get in touch, what's the best way?
Yeah, best way to get in touch with us is our website. So you can go to www.enlighten.co.nz, and then that gives you a pretty good overview around what we do, and it's got various kind of contact forms and other things. Otherwise, yeah, you can message us on LinkedIn, various social channels. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that concludes today's 10-minute IT Jam with Enlighten Design's founder and CEO, Damon Kelly. Thanks so much for the chat, Damon.
You're welcome.